it's Kris.
And I'm Wyatt Elliott from Notebook Entertainment.
And this is the Horrorland News. Alright, so we're going to start today with our TV roundup. We're going to talk about some of the shows that we did not get to because they did not air or we did not watch them in time for Friday's episode. So we are going to start with I Know What You Did Last Summer on Amazon Prime. They had 4 episodes up.
I wish there was more.
Right. Okay, so...
That's our review.
First episode, and again, we're going to keep these spoiler-free,
Yes.
and we'll do a full spoiler episode at the end of the season. But I will say, the first episode, I was not sold. I'm glad they put more than one. Because by the end, I'm telling you, I kept watching, and I think I realized as somewhere along the way, I was like, wait a minute, I'm enjoying this.
Yeah,
like, I had to realize that I was actually enjoying watching it.
I think I realized around episode 3 that I was really into it, and I didn't want it to... I remember there was only one more episode. And it was weird because I felt like it was accomplishing a lot, but nothing at the same time.
Right.
You know?
I kept going like, can we get some people dying around here? But
there's a lot of information to just take in. It is different from the movie.
And it is somewhat like we're still guessing on our theories on what's happening, but there are parts of it that are somewhat predictable. Like I was able to call quite a few things that happened
right off the bat. She did. So, yeah.
So, but it's not because I watched I Know What You Did Last Summer. It's because I watched so many movies from all genres in general. Because it does not have anything to do with the I Know What You Did Last Summer movies. It's its own story.
Similar enough to
it's similar enough.
Yeah.
Obviously, they hit somebody and they have to cover up the fact that they hit somebody, and then they start getting messages that somebody knows what they did.
I think
that's where the similarities end.
Yeah,
I think
the biggest difference is the backstory, and I won't get into it.
No, but it's complicated.
It's very complicated, and it does make it interesting.
It does.
You know, it does. So.
And I'm one of those people. I like puzzles and having to like figure stuff out and mysteries. So I think that's why at some point I just went like, wait a minute, I like this. Like,
yeah, and I'm telling this is definitely a binge show.
Yep.
Like if they would have done this once a week, which it would, I don't know if we would come back, honestly. Remember to keep watching it. The
first episode isn't as memorable as they maybe would have liked, but I think they knew that, which again is why they released so many of them.
And it's not confusing.
No.
But they go back and forth a lot between what happened that night to present day.
So you do have to pay attention. So definitely go watch it. Next, we're going to talk about Day of the Dead on Sci-Fi. Was not as big a fan of this one.
No.
It's very... Like, I don't think it knows if it wants to be a horror comedy or if it wants to be horror or just comedy. Like, I don't think it knows what it is.
And this, because
I don't know what it is.
No, I think this one would probably benefit from having multiple episodes to binge too, because it could be going somewhere. But at this,
I don't care.
With one episode in. Yeah,
I don't care where it's going.
There's no drive to keep watching it. The Walking Dead started way better. This one has a tone of, I don't know. It's like it's comedic.
Really I can't remember liking any of the characters.
No. And the villains are like cartoonishly villainous. They're just so evil.
Oh God,
They're so evil.
I'm like, okay, when's this guy gonna die? Like,
right, and they just want you to hate him so bad that they just try too hard. I think.
And it's very. You know how we talk about they put in social justice and all that stuff into horror movies, messaging and all that. And we'll tell people, like, well, okay, but it doesn't feel heavy-handed. This felt like they were just slapping you upside the head with stereotypes of people.
Yeah, I didn't even think it was messaging. Yeah,
no, it was just straight-up stereotypes of conservatives, of liberals, of teenagers, of... Yeah. It was just all... Whatever stereotype you can think of someone, that's what they are, and it was ridiculous.
It felt more forced, and, like, in one episode, there's only one episode, but so far, I'm not seeing what this has to offer that the movie has already done way better.
I will say the zombies looked cool.
Yes, the zombies
look cool. The makeup is really good.
Yeah, because I even said to her, I was like, I wonder how many ex-Walking Dead makeup artists are now working here.
I hope they got better jobs, because I don't know. again, I'll keep watching because now it's my job and we have to report this stuff to you. But like, I'm not gonna like it.
Yeah, well,
I'm not excited to watch the next episode.
We're gonna give it a couple episodes more and see where it goes.
Yeah, but we might have to give up on that one with you for you guys.
And if we do, we'll tell you.
Yeah, we'll tell you. We're like, we just can't do this anymore. But for the first episode, go watch it. See, maybe you'll like it better than we did. I don't know. I like zombie movies, so it's not that
I will say this is that. Kudos to Sci-Fi for giving us one heck of a Halloween this year.
Yes. I mean, they gave us the brilliance that is the Chucky series, so I'll forgive them for Day of the Dead.
And that really shows the difference, because Chucky's only one episode in, and we are pumped.
I cannot wait for tomorrow to watch it.
Yeah, because I've seen some bad Chucky movies that I wouldn't be this pumped about. This series, I'm pumped.
It's really good, you guys.
So, it's so good.
Yep. All right, so that was our TV roundup. We're going to move on to our news stories, and we're going to start with the Halloween Kills box office. So even with same-day streaming on Peacock, they still managed to bring in $50 million for their opening weekend, which is not only really good for the pandemic, it's the best movie opening for a horror during the pandemic. It's even the best opening for an R-rated movie during the pandemic. It blew away the Suicide Squad, which only made around 26 mil. The opening weekend, I'm sure it's made plenty more since then.
Not as much as they wanted it to.
Right.
For good reason, but...
And it did beat Quiet Place 2, which came close with 47.5 million. And Candyman, which it was a little harder to, it was right at the beginning, theaters were reopening.
Oh, sure.
But Candyman had a stellar 23 million opening weekend for when it opened and all of that. So we kind of knew Halloween Kills was going to perform well because it's a very anticipated movie.
Well, yeah, and the last one did like 80 million. And that was not during the pandemic, but still, that was all kinds of record-breaking. So... I'm sure the Peacock numbers aren't in yet. I'm sure it did well. I noticed on social media about half and half. Where either going to the theaters, staying at home.
Yeah.
But either way,
I did both.
Either way, a lot of people watched this movie, and I think it was a good thing for them to put it on Peacock.
Yeah. Oh yeah, agreed. Absolutely. So, I do hope that won't continue once things are back to normal, and theaters will get back their grace period where they can just show in theaters and then you have to wait for streaming, because it does kind of feel like the theater industry's dying. Like the theater I went to, it was fuller than I had seen, but it still wasn't very full. Pictures that I've seen people sharing are not full. One of our friends shared a picture. They were the only ones in their theater.
There's still a lot of people nervous about going to theaters.
Totally understandable.
And theater owners haven't done a lot to make that better for us.
So they have to get a little better. But yeah, if you feel safe, go to the theater to see Halloween Kills. If you don't feel safe, do watch it on Peacock. I hope that the streaming services, once everything's back to normal, the streaming services will kind of back off the theaters.
Yeah, I think that they'll have to, because with all the new negotiations and everything about streaming as is, I think they're going to have to stop that. I do want to make one correction, because I think I did say when we were talking about this last week that it was free to watch on Peacock, and technically that is not true. I just found out if you have the commercial plan, you won't get Halloween Kills. So you have to pay the $4.99 a month with the no commercials to get Halloween Kills. And I apologize, I did not know that.
Still, $4.99 to sign up and see this movie and then cancel the subscription is still cheaper than going to the theater.
Oh my God, it is. And it's still worthwhile. And you get to see lots of other content on there too.
Right.
Like, I like the streaming service. I really do.
They've got The Office.
They do, yeah. I find myself watching it a lot.
And they've got The Office with all the extra stuff too.
Yep.
But that's not what the show's about.
That's not the show.
I could do a whole show on just The Office, so that's not what. Don't get me started.
Okay.
All right, so moving on. We got a first look photo from Rob Zombie and The Munsters Project, and I was already worried when this was first announced.
Terrified, actually.
Again, I like his original work. It's when he takes over other things that I don't like. I don't like what he did to Halloween. I hate it.
And I don't mean to say he can't do it, but he's not known for comedy.
Right.
Or
his comedy is very like
sadistic,
right?
Weird, like
I laughed.
I like Rob Zombie. I do.
I laughed during Devil's Rejects. You know, like there were some funny parts,
right.
but it's not comedy funny. You know, like.
Right. It's not the
Monsters. You have to be kind of weird to like it.
And I'm not saying the monsters can't be a little weird,
right.
can't be a dark humor thing.
Right.
I'm totally cool with that.
The house looked good.
Yeah.
I hate that he cast his wife as Lily Munster. I'm a fan of the Munsters. I watched it as a kid on Nick at Night. I watched when they put it in color. I watched, you know.
I watched the 1990s remake.
Right. Yeah, that was
not
God,
good.
That was horrible. You do not need to watch that.
No,
but
don't.
We actually worked with Butch Patrick, the original Eddie Munster.
Great guy.
We got to meet him. He came out. He did a guest spot on a TV show we were doing called The Deadersons. He played a character for us. Super nice guy. We are huge Munsters fans. So I don't see Sherry Moon Zombie as Lily Munster. I don't think her acting is good enough. I think she's good enough for the roles that she does get. I hated her in Halloween. I did. I think they should have gotten a comedic actress to play this role.
I mean, just look at this photo for a second. To me, the grandpa, okay, he looks like grandpa. Herman, okay, I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt. I don't know who the actor is. She looks like she's Sherry Moon Zombie cosplaying.
Right, cosplaying Lily Munster.
She doesn't look like she's fully in costume. And I don't know if it's because I just know who she is or what, but it does not look the part to me. And prove me wrong. You know? To
me, it's not even the looks. Like I said, I think they should have, if he wanted her in it, cool, put her in some other role that's, you know, an original character or something.
Yeah,
they should have gotten a comedic actress to play this role.
There's bound to be a villain that's part of the city or something. Have
anything.
her play that part.
Have her be a neighbor. Who cares?
Yeah,
but, like, I don't think, and we cast our friends all the time.
Well, of course.
However, we cast them for roles that they would fit in. She just doesn't fit this, and it makes me worried that he's going to keep doing the same things that he always does, and we're just going to get basically Rob Zombie's The Munsters instead of an actual Munsters, you know?
Yeah, I don't know. We'll keep you posted on it. We're a little
Fingers
nervous.
crossed, but yeah, I'm nervous. I'm not thrilled.
And for the younger viewers, if you haven't seen The Munsters, I don't know what streaming service it's on. I really don't, but it's got to be out there for free to watch on YouTube.
Somewhere.
Give it a shot. It really is a fun, inventive show. And yes, it's old, but
it's old. It's black and white. You'll get over it.
But get over it. It's really fun. It's cool. And I've been waiting for a Monsters movie for years with all these TV shows and direct-to-video movie remakes they've had over the years.
And then they announced Rob Zombie's doing it, and I was like, no.
Right. Why?
So yeah,
we'll see.
Apparently, Butch Patrick went to the set and he had a good time, but
he's got no creative. He's got no say over it.
I know.
So we'll see what happens.
We'll see. All right, so moving on, Heather Wixson, who is an editor for Daily Dead, she's written a book called Monsters, Makeup, and Effects, Volume 1. And it's just about special effects artists behind all our favorite monsters in movies. And I'm just letting you guys know about this because I have a special interest in special effects makeup.
A little bit.
I really like doing special effects makeup, especially creepy stuff. So I'm definitely going to probably be buying this book.
Which is how we just spent our weekend.
By the way, we were on set all weekend doing all kinds of stuff. I had to make an eyeball out of paper towels and stuff, so that was fun. But, so I just think people should learn more about special effects world. I'm sure there's going to be, like, a whole chapter on, like, Tom Savini in there. But, yeah, I think it's an art that kind of gets overlooked. Or, we don't need that because we have, computer effects now, so we don't need the practical effects. And I think practical effects always look better.
Yes, you can tell when there's CGI. I don't care how big a budget a movie it is. You can tell the difference. And you know what? Like, if you have an interest in makeup, and there's lots of makeup tutorials and everything on there, but I do want to give a quick shout out to a show that I know she loved. It was called Face Off.
I loved Face Off.
And you can watch it on, I think it's on Peacock, honestly. It's on one of the streaming services.
Whichever one has sci-fi.
I want to say it's Peacock, but in the episode, I watch this show because I also love behind the scenes stuff, but these are makeup artists competing, and you can just see the true artistry and what they have to do.
Fantastic. I saw every season.
It's fantastic.
It got canceled.
I highly
it was
recommend
stupid.
it
Should. We all fans. We tried to save it, but Sci-Fi wasn't listening.
I highly recommend it.
But yeah, it was with the Westmores. Mackenzie Westmore hosted it. If you know anything about. And then her father, Mr. Westmore, he came in and would advise the younger people who were competing. But it was a really good show. Highly recommended. Doug Jones was on it a bunch as a guest judge because he's like the creature master.
And you really can't replace makeup effects, artistry with CG. All you're going to do is just have CG characters, and then that's more expensive, more time, you know, so.
And they don't always look as good.
No.
They just don't.
Most time they don't feel real.
Yeah. So and it's hard. It's easier to push it into an uncanny valley when you rely on computers too, which is unsettling unless that's what you're going for, you know.
Right. That's different.
That's different. All right. So our next story, Mike Flanagan, the writer and director of Midnight Mass and Hill House, Gerald's Game, and a bunch of other new horror movies that have been coming out. He's teaming up with Netflix again for a new project that I'm super excited about. It's going to be celebrating the works of Edgar Allan Poe. It's going to be called The Fall House of the Usher. It's a limited series, and it's going to be 8 different episodes that are going to pay tribute to him. Most likely The Fall House of the Usher, I'm assuming, since they named the whole thing after it, is going to be part of this. I do not want to see the Black Cat short story represented in there anywhere. That's one that I don't like because, you know, cat torture. I mean, the cat's an asshole, but, like, still. So, yeah, he said that the entire Poe catalog was open and they wanted the series to be bloody and insane. So, I am down. Again, I'd like it if they pull from some of his lesser known stories. I think The Telltale Heart is overplayed.
Sure.
We all know it. I think The Simpsons did it.
The Raven.
The Raven. They did The Raven, but I think they had like Lisa had something under the floorboards, and it was it was like a school project or something.
She had to make a diorama.
Yeah, that's what it was. I knew I remembered it on The Simpsons.
I will say this though: if it wasn't for The Simpsons, I never would have even read any of Edgar Allan Poe's or gone and looked at his work or whatever. So that Raven episode stuck with me since the very first time I saw it, and I've loved it ever since. So it's even made me look back at some of the old Vincent Price movies they made. Not always good, but they tried. They tried.
But yeah, so my favorite Edgar Allan Poe poem isn't actually The Raven. It's Annabelle Lee. I love Annabelle Lee. I don't know why. I think it's pretty.
Maybe they'll do some sort of adaptation.
It would be great. But yeah, so my hopes for it is that it's some of his lesser known works and not so much, you know, Telltale Heart and Cask of Amontillado and all that. So we'll let you know when that's coming out, when it's got a release date, trailer, whatever. I will keep you updated because I'm very excited about this project. Huge Edgar Allan Poe fan.
Very excited. Yep.
All right, so now we're going to get into our indie film spotlight.
My advice to young filmmakers, make a movie every week. Make films, no matter what anybody says, and you'll be a filmmaker.
All right, so for our movie today, I know we said we wanted to do Halloween-type movies, but Sci-Fi, again, to the rescue, came out this weekend with a movie that we were like, okay, we have to talk about this. Slumber Party Massacre. It's a new indie film based on an old indie film.
And I've been hearing a lot about this, and so we talked about it. We decided that we wanted to cover this.
Yep, it's bigger budget, but it's still an indie film.
Mm-hmm. And it's based on a very infamous indie film.
Right. So here's what happened. Shout Factory obtained the rights to 270 different titles in the Roger Corman library.
Carnosaur remake, come on.
They decided, well, maybe, but they decided they were going to remake Slumber Party Massacre. It first debuted at the Fantastic Fest in Austin on September 27th of this year. And then I assume it was bought by Sci-Fi based on its reception there.
Yeah, most likely.
So the original, I just want to talk about the original for a little bit because it is a cult classic. It's actually a really good movie. Like
it's a good story.
It's a good bad movie.
Yeah.
So, it was an indie film. It was made by Amy Holden Jones, and written by writer and feminist activist Rita Mae Brown, and financed by Roger Corman. Thus the nudity that's in it. Sorry, that was my dog coughing. It was shot on a $200,000 budget, which made this indie film a relative success because it made $3.6 million in the box office. So it made a lot of money for no budget.
Well, explains all the sequels.
Yeah. Oh, there was a ton of sequels. So I suggest it all. Go watch all of Slumber Party Massacre. I believe they're all on Shudder right now. So... Rita wrote it originally as a parody of slasher films, which comes through still in the end result. And Killer Russ Thorne's drill is clearly meant to be a phallic symbol.
He's the driller killer.
Right. Amy wound up filming it kind of as a more serious slasher. And so it comes across, it's a comedy, both intentional and unintentional. Because, it was clearly written to be a spoof. And a statement on slasher horror from a feminist viewpoint, and then Amy got it, and then Roger Corman came involved, and it became what it is, and it's fantastic. I love it.
But kudos to Roger Corman for, even though he required the nudity and stuff in it,
I love Roger Corman.
He still let her do what she wanted to do otherwise.
Yeah,
so.
And he promoted so many independent voices in horror. Throughout all of horror, not just directing. He inspired writers, artists,
makeup
everything.
Artists, writers, producers, directors, everybody. So many people came from him.
So Roger Corman, 2 thumbs up. So I think the sci-fi remake respected and stayed true to the intent of the original, of what it was. It had that same feeling of unintentional camp. While still being completely self-aware. Like, this movie knew what it was, and it went for it, and I applaud it.
Yeah. I applaud it, too. It's very enjoyable.
It had fun. It had fun with itself, this movie. It really
did. This movie it was very self-aware. At the point, like, in the very first of it, you're kind of, like, taking it seriously, but then when the guys show up...
Yeah, you're like,
clearly, now it's a parody... But it also is saying something about film. And I think you can still see the feminist
for sure.
influence
it's
in
still
there
got
and
it,
stuff.
for sure.
And the girls turn out to be really badasses and
Yeah.
everything. And I don't know, I liked the guy
them.
that got to play the driller killer. His face.
He was good.
He gave good face.
He was crazy. And he imitated that little voice. I love you voice. Like,
right. Creepy too, but
he was good at that.
I liked him. I would be down for
it. It was good. The twist, again, I did see a lot of it coming. Like, once the mid-movie twist came, I wouldn't even say mid-movie, it's like quarter through.
Yeah.
The movie kind of flips itself, what you think you're watching, into something else.
Yeah, I don't want to give it away, but it does. Yeah. Like, I even said to her, this reminds me of another infamous horror movie.
Right.
But
so it was really, once that flip happened, it became a little more predictable, but still
I don't think
totally
you're supposed
enjoyable.
to go into this like,
no.
oh my god, this is
what's going to happen?
Script.
Like,
no, just have... And some of the kills feel a little censored for TV. So but I think you said that the director said
the
they
director
more?
did an interview. I don't remember with who right now off the top of my head, but I saw somewhere that he had done an interview and they were asking him, when you put this on DVD, is it going to be more blood and gore? And he said, well, probably, but it's definitely going to be more nudity. Because, okay, guys, so Roger Corman movies, big on nudity, mostly female. He would throw some male nudity in there. This one is like all male nudity. It's not a lot, but it's, well, and it takes there's a scene where a dude gets in the shower and you see him the same way, it's shot the same way you would shoot a woman doing the scene.
It's great.
He takes off his, robe or towel or whatever he's wearing. He gets under the water and he's, sitting there sexy shower and it shows his butt and it's, like it's the same way they would shoot a woman in this scene, but it's a man and it's fantastic. Speaking of which, okay, so the movie begins like back in the 90s at a different slumber party, and tell me why fully clothed girls just dancing around the room causes some guy to like whip it out and start beating it to him. Like, Guys are so easy. Are you kidding me?
Yes,
Like-
it's true. But even I was looking at this like, come on. Like it was stretching it.
I know it's the 90s, but like, go steal your dad's Playboy or something. Come on.
There was even in the 90s, as a citizen of the 90s, there was way better porn accessible.
Right. You didn't need the internet, all right?
Than going through people's windows,
Right.
okay?
Go get a Cinemax subscription
I've done
or something.
a lot of crazy shit in my life, but I did not ever do that. And
right.
But
and the same thing happens later. Is again, the girls are fully clothed, and yet some guy decides that he's gonna try and like jerk it off to him, and I'm like, I don't understand men. like it takes a lot more than that to turn me on, but I don't know.
You could look at it like this is a woman's point of view, since they wrote it, of what a creepy guy would be doing out there, and they're probably not wrong, but because this guy is very, very creepy. So like it kind of reminds me of that whole, the writing and filming with the male gaze versus the woman's gaze. Only this is a woman's idea of what a creepy guy would be doing.
Which is I love it because I think that's exactly what it was supposed to do.
Yeah.
Because again, we always hear about there's that meme. From the Queen's Gambit, where she's all, posing in her pajamas with a cigarette and a glass of, and the joke is what men think women look like at rock bottom or something like that. 'Cause men depict women very unrealistically most times. I'll find myself watching a movie sometimes and be like, we don't do that. Like,
you're right. Like even this movie kept all the pajamas very tasteful and everything, but there's still a little sex appeal to them. The reality is, pajamas and the pajama parties, they're gonna have like full on pajamas, makeup on their face, hair and rollers, all this kinds of stuff.
Yeah, there's
It's like. The best part, though, is when the guys
act
like
a pillow fight.
The guys act like stereotypical girls in these old movies.
While being like male chauvinists. It's crazy.
One of the lines that really cracked me up is with all the guys are going to figure out where this killer is or protect their rented house, and the one guy goes. The girl stops him and she's like, "Are you gonna go with them?" And he's like, "Well, my toxic masculinity requires me to." So,
like he knew it was dumb, but he's like, "But I have to." Like, there's very, like we said, it's a very self-aware movie, so there's some very self-aware lines in there.
And she picked up, because I kind of just blew it off, but she picked up that the two guys are named Guy 1 and Guy 2, which is right out of the script for people who don't have characters.
Right.
They're just cannon fodder.
Right. It's usually Guy 1, Guy 2, Girl 1, Girl 2, But they even say in the movie, because there's confusion over it, because they obviously died, both of them, at different times. And so it's like, and when the girls show up, they don't know about Guy 1 and Guy 2. So they're like, well, I thought that was Guy. No, Guy 2. Well, Guy, what? So it's hilarious.
They really played that well.
Yeah.
That joke could have been just a one throwaway gag, but they actually kept bringing it back, and it was really funny. So the movie's very entertaining.
Yeah. I would say it's kind of not as good up until it flips, up until the first twist.
Yes.
And then it's like, oh, now I'm into this. Like,
Because before that, you're trying to feel what they're going for.
Yeah.
What the feel of the movie is, and it feels like it's just like they're trying to take it seriously. Like, for instance, we were just talking about Amazon, I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Right.
That is dead serious. That takes it wickedly serious, more than the original movie did.
Yep.
This is definitely not, but you're kind of like feeling it out. Well, where's it going? Okay, it's funny. Got it.
And then the twist happens, you're like, oh, that's what this is. Yeah. All right.
You're right. Once the twist happens, it's no longer a remake. It's its own thing.
It's a totally different movie. So, but I really enjoyed it. I liked the stereotype tropes that they're making fun of in this movie, that they're pointing out for both men and women, because there are a lot of, we always talk about the tropes for women in the movies. They run up the stairs and they're, always got their makeup on, the big boobs, all that stuff. But there are tropes for men in horror movies too. And so this movie does kind of point those out and make fun of them as well.
And I don't want to give it too much away, but they do address the women stereotypes as well. in the characters.
Yes.
And then at the end, there's a reveal.
There's another reveal.
There's another reveal. But it's funny because you watch it at first and you're like, this girl is really hilarious because she's so dumb.
She's so dumb. But then it turns out, nope, maybe not.
Yeah, maybe not.
And then there's they're in this gas station and there's this little toy and the sexy girl is playing with it, and it's a figure with a barrel over it. When you pull the barrel up, its penis pops up, and
just keeps playing with it.
She's sitting there playing with it, and the woman Kay, the one that runs the gas station, she's like, "Are you gonna buy that?" And she's like, "Well, obviously." I'm like, "Well, yeah, that's the answer. Obviously, you're gonna buy that. I would buy that."
Right.
Like,
you play it, you buy it.
Why would you not buy that?
Right.
So yeah, I definitely say go see this movie. It was again directed by a female, Danishka Esterhazy. I don't know if I said that right. I'm very sorry if I didn't. And it was also, but she did the Banana Splits movie.
She did.
She directed the Banana Splits movie, which I like that movie.
And doing a little research myself, she was originally credited as most famous, I guess, for being a screenwriter in Canada for horror movies and stuff. So
even better.
Yep. So I think she knows what she's doing.
Yep.
I think she's got a,
she's got a vision.
Yes,
yeah.
and because the Banana Splits was kind of funny too.
Yeah, I love Banana Splits.
I think that I think she's gonna be someone to watch. Maybe Blumhouse. Maybe you should be keep an eye on this woman.
Yep, and then it's also written by a woman still too, Suzanne Kelly. So yeah, it kept the tradition of women helming the franchise alive, and I think they did fantastic.
Which is smart. Which is very smart on their part. Yeah.
All right, so
all right, I think that's our show.
We don't want to give any spoilers away. Go watch it. Again, it was on Sci-Fi.
It'll probably play all month.
Yeah, it'll probably be playing over and over again. So check your schedule, or I don't know which streaming service Sci-Fi goes to. If they do, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
But yeah, look for it. Definitely watch it if you get the chance. And if it ever gets on DVD, we will let you know so that you can buy it.
And or streaming. Yep. All right, thanks guys for watching. We really appreciate it. We love horror over here.
All right, good night, good fight.
And the lamplight o'er him streaming throws his shadow on the floor. And my soul from out that shadow that lies floating on the floor shall be lifted nevermore.